evening. Good morning. Happy voting day. Today, I'm going to be talking about, it's probably going to be brief, I'm going to be talking about The Colossus by Sylvia Plath. This is not the first Sylvia Plath book that I've read, but it is the first book of poetry that I've read. My girlfriend and I read it. Man, it probably took us a year to read. My idea when we got it was to read one poem sometime every day together. So there are 40 poems in this book, and it took us about a year to read. Obviously, we didn't actually end up reading one every day. We probably took a few months break at a time. Not for any reason. Like, it wasn't hard. Well, it wasn't, but like, it wasn't hard on us to read it. We just stopped doing it sometimes. So before I talk about this book, I'm going to talk about some other Sylvia Plath stuff, just to give my opinion on Sylvia Plath. So I have read The Bell Jar, but at the time that I read it, I was kind of new to reading. I mean, obviously I've known how to read for like 20 years, and I've read books before, but I didn't really start like a deep dive into the world of literature until about a year ago. And I kind of saw books more as like an adversarial thing, which is still a problem that I have, like, to this day, where like I'm trying to keep pushing myself to get through a book. But anyways, that was definitely a big problem with this book when I read it. I kind of just wanted to get through it, and I didn't really like soak it all in. So I'm going to be revisiting it at some point, probably not anytime soon, just because my to read list is already so huge. But it was good. There was a lot of really cathartic moments, and of course the thing about I think it's like a fig tree, and like the really famous part about the fig tree was really good, as well as things that she said about romance were good. But I just don't remember a whole lot of it, and I don't think that I really absorbed it properly, so I'm going to revisit it at some point. I've also read this, which it is a book, like it literally is a book in my hands right now, but she wrote this in college as like a short story. I think it was for class. It's 40 pages exactly. The font is huge. I'm a slow reader, so it probably took me a half hour to read, but you can probably get it done in like 20 minutes. But that actually is my favorite thing by her across the 3 books. That's probably my favorite of hers so far, but there are reasons to that. One of them being I didn't really give The Bell Jar a fair try, and also because I'm not really a poetry head. Not saying that I don't like poetry. I wouldn't have picked this up if I didn't like it. I think it's fun to read and especially fun to write, but I'm just not very good at comprehending it. And her style is really kind of weird. Like in a normal poem, you would pause at the end of each line of the stanza, but when you read this, or at least when I read it, I don't think that that's how you're supposed to actually read it. I think that you're just supposed to read through the end of the line, just like it's a sentence. I could be totally wrong about that, but I found that it flowed way better that way. So for the first few poems, when my girlfriend and I read them, I especially did not understand anything at all, and that kind of persisted throughout the book because her style is kind of cryptic, kinda. But yeah, that was a big hurdle for me to get over. So I should probably reread this as well at some point, especially when I've read more poetry. But also in other ways, I did like this book. It was good. I wish that we had been more consistent with it, but that has nothing to do with the book. It was kind of eye-opening, because a lot of her poems aren't really like or at least the way that I understood them, they weren't trying to be like, oh, I'm so miserable, this is how I'm expressing myself, talking about the forest, or, you know, whatever she's talking about. I think a lot of the time she's literally describing something, and she's just writing about it in a beautiful way, or like a kind of dark and sad way. And I thought that was actually really cool. I never even thought of poetry as a vehicle to do something like that. Like, one of my favorite poems is about a dead snake in a lawn. I just like it. I thought it was pretty cool. And I think a lot of the more expressive ones are ones that I didn't really understand, because she doesn't really say like, I am feeling blah blah blah, like I thought was more common in poetry. Like, she really is very descriptive of weird things in weird ways, and that's what she's saying. I don't really have more to say on this book, to be honest with you. We both really liked it. We're gonna read another poetry book. So we're gonna be reading Bright Dead Things by Ada Limon. I'm probably messing up that name, but this is the one that we'll be doing one poem a day for however long it takes us. So I'll get to that next November. I would probably say that this is the order in which they're my favorites. Mary Ventura and the Ninth Kingdom. I liked the Colossus probably more than the Bell Jar, but I would say I probably like them just about equal. But there were just more moments in the Colossus where I was like, whoa, like with the snake poem, or like there's one about mushrooms, which is just talking about mushrooms, and I just thought that was really cool. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Happy voting day. I hope everything for our country goes well and that things are good. Have a good day.